Hey y'all, just a moment ago we were talking about sassafras trees and y'all saw this fireplace and some of you wanted to know what it was. This is the fireplace that was John's papa's home. John's mama and daddy and his sister, they also lived there. It's the house John grew up in. John's grandmother, when he was really little, became ill, and when she passed away, John's grandfather had also, he was wheelchair bound, and so they moved into the home, but John's mother grew up there as well. This was a farm that her daddy had, and his family were just down the road, the Walker family, and so he inherited some land, and then he acquired this one. He bought it. Do y'all see the chickens? They heard me talking to y'all and they've come up thinking I've got more treats. What are y'all up to? Huh? Y'all seeing if Mama's got more treats? All right, y'all. So anyway, y'all, several of you ask, and I always forget, some of you just haven't seen it before, and I always feel like I'm beating a dead horse, because I've talked about it. But I realize some of you haven't, and some of you have, and y'all just want to visit with us anyway. So I'll talk about it. But when I started dating John, he still lived in the home because, like I say, they had moved back in. John's mama did after her mother passed away to take care of her daddy. And Papa was still alive. He lived to be 95, and he was in a wheelchair. And he was a farmer. He also worked for the forestry department, and so he had started developing this farm. And then John and I, once we acquired it about 15 years ago, we started making more and more pastures and doing more, wanting to stick to the same as John's papa did. So anyway, once we built our home, this home here, we actually first of all was actually wanting, this was an old farmhouse, and I'll walk and I'll show y'all what it looked like when I was dating John and when John grew up. But this was an old farmhouse, and we really wanted to just take it and redo it, like add to it and do a wraparound porch and such as that. But it was an old home he had built in I'm gonna say the 1940s when John's mama was little, and it had gone into such disrepairs. The floor had rotted out, and it was too much. It was falling in. It wasn't enough to do that, and it broke our hearts because we would have just as soon done that, and redone that house, the farmhouse. So John, after we built this home, John Tyler, our son, worked with me at the veterinary clinic. And one night we were driving home from way down here, way back, we could see this bright light in the sky, and it scared John Tyler and me to death because we thought our new home was on fire. But John had decided while no one was here, he went on and bulldozed the home down because it was just going to be sad to him. It's the house he grew up in. It's the house his papa had built. And so he just said, while no one was here, I just wanted to get it done. And so when we came around the curve and we finally saw it was this one, we're like, okay, at least our house isn't burning down. But my mother is who to thank for that. We had not even thought about saving this fireplace, and she is the one that said, no, don't tear down that fireplace. And y'all know my mother's passed away now. She did in 2023, right before Mother's Day in May. And she said, no, Amy, John's got to try to keep that fireplace. So John took the backhoe, and he actually would almost like just reach up there and scrape some of the house off of it. And we thought, well, if you can save it, that'll be great. And if you can't, well, you tried, Y'all see I planted some knockout roses around it. And but anyway, this was in a back room, and y'all can see some of the mortar or whatever still on there from where, matter of fact, you can see the roof line. Do you see that? That's where it was sticking out from there above the house. And then that was in the attic area, and then it came down. But isn't it pretty? It's pretty anyway, and it's tall. Like, here's the top of my head, and you see how much taller it is. Let me turn y'all and show y'all what I mean. See how much taller it is than me? Yeah, it was big. So anyway, John said, oh my. I was like, my mama said leave it. And he said, okay, I'll try. Well, he did. He was able to just barely pull things away from it. And look at there, it stayed. And a lot of y'all said y'all want to do that. And like I say, you can even see here when it gets below, it was an above ground house, of course. And when it gets below, it was just stacked up, you know, all mortar messy like, because it wasn't inside the house down there. So anyway, this is it, and it is pretty. It's got some weeds growing up. I have to get out here from time to time. And look, they're literally growing in like old ashes, you know, in the fireplace. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, that was it. And it was in the very back bedroom, which was more like a back living room. And from that living room, I'm going to try to walk y'all through the home. And that's what I love about this still being here. I can still make out the home in my mind. And when things are completely missing, you start totally losing exactly where things were. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is a little landmark. But from, for instance, back here, this was on the back corner of the house. The bedroom, or the back living room is what it was. Kind of like what I guess you'd call a den now. It went out further from here. And from this side of it, there was a step-up porch, like a little back porch, little corner back porch. So cute. And it actually looked toward the garden, which is my garden now. It's the same area. And right beside it was his grandmother's canning kitchen, which was huge and so nice, and I really wish we could have kept it. I really do. And that's mine over there. Y'all are always in there with. But anyway, that's where I first saw a canning kitchen. But however, you stepped on this back porch if you were in the back, and mostly you came in the front, but I'm just starting y'all from here, from the fireplace. And then you came in and you walked in straight into this back room, which eventually, because it was John's sister and John's mom and daddy and John's papa, that became a bedroom. Of course it did, instead of just a back den. But let's see, I'll start back in this way. So then from there, there was a middle hallway, huge, big old wide hallway, you know, that had the phone case in it. You know how you'd have that phone case inside the wall with your phone sitting there. It was a big wide hallway. It could have furniture in it, and which I love, you know, a little sitting bench and things like that. Real pretty. And it had a bathroom also on the back of the house at the end of the hallway. And it had another back porch, but you got to it from the kitchen. But the house actually went from that fireplace, and it started at an angle. It had bedroom, it had that back bedroom, another bedroom, and then the big living room. And it went toward the front here. Y'all see the big magnolia tree? That was on the corner of the home. And we're walking, and then we'd be in the living room area right now. And then you came out of the front porch, and it had a big screen porch from about here all the way going across to there. Long, big old screen porch, screened in front porch with steps coming down. There used to be, yeah, here we go, some cementy area. You see that hard, like here's some right here, right there. Grass is growing over it, but then it started from the front steps there. You walk down this path like this, and I'm taking y'all backwards. Let me turn around. You walk down this path, and the path went to a gate. It was fenced in the front yard. And y'all, when I started dating John, this cedar tree, y'all see how huge it is now? It was just a small low cedar tree. It wasn't just a few more feet above us, and so it didn't hang so far, okay? It had its place, and right beside it was the front gate. You could open and go out, and when you did, like I say, you didn't have all these branches. It wasn't so towering at the time. There was a crescent-shaped driveway. It came in there, and it curved around. You still see, like, right here. And then it curved on around, and then went down right there back to the road. And the mailbox was right here, like literally like right here just outside the gate. And his papa would find things cultivating in the field. He's found all sorts of stuff. He found arrowheads all the time. And he would just drop things as he came in around this little bitty old cedar tree, because it was right by the gate. And we have left everything here. A lot of it's buried. This is a grinding stone. Do y'all see this? Let me look at that. Do y'all see the, I wonder if y'all can see the contours in this grinding stone. It goes here and there. And this was right there with it. Like literally you could grind with this. And it's ground down a couple little round bowl-shaped areas. Do y'all see that? Isn't that fabulous? And there's another one where it's been grinding. He would place petrified wood, like I say, arrowheads, just all sorts of neat things he would find. And so we've left it because that's where Papa put it, you know? So we just left it. But anyway, that is the house that John grew up in. And his Papa had built, and like I say, I think they had built a home in Shudrant, Louisiana, but once his grandmother had passed, then they ended up moving back here to help take care of Papa. And I got to know Papa too. John Ashley Walker was his name, and that's what our youngest little granddaughter's named after him, named Ashley. And of course we named Tyler after John Tyler. So his name's living on. And anyway, so this was it. And it was, like I say, a cute little farmhouse, and we would have loved to have fixed it up, but it was just in too bad. It had gone too far before we could get a hold of it, or we sure would have still been living in it. Wouldn't that have been nostalgic and cool? But anyway, y'all, I just want to tell y'all a little bit about it. Y'all see this yard? It's got lots of old oak trees in it. It did have one huge one here, right about there. And we had built the house, and it was only months old, wasn't even a year old, and a tornado came through and threw it onto that house, and it knocked the chimney down, scraped the house all the way down, knocked that whole little side porch. That's our prayer porch. And that's our little side porch we all sit on and drink coffee and read the Bible in the morning. It destroyed the home. I can tell inside, even the staircase is shifted, like it twisted the house. But anyway, you know, that's lovely little tornadoes. And so we fixed it. We got all more siding, brand new roofing all over. And about a year and a half later, another tornado came through and did it again. And so John, we had put black shingles or dark charcoal gray, and John said, "Baby, can we put green shingles this time?" Like that was on his papa's house that sat here, and we really liked the green. And I said, "Sure." And so I said, "Anyway, if we don't, you know, the next year when another tornado rips it off, well, we'll just change back to the charcoal, you know, just." I got to make jokes about things, you know, just laugh about it because it was just ridiculous. And so we put the green, and it hadn't happened since, and we're very thankful. So, but yeah, about 3 years in a row, we sided it and roofed it the first time. Then we had a tornado, had to side and roof it again. And then we had another tornado and had to side and roof it again. So that's been fun. But anyway, that's been years ago now, and we're very thankful. But that tree was humongous. Some of the guys down the road came and wanted to measure it, and I can't remember the diameter. It was crazy, crazy big. It was gorgeous, but the tornado said it was time for it to come down. We've got this one left, and it's not near as big as it was, although it is gargantuan, as you see. But it's far enough away that even if a tornado knocks it down, At least it won't hit the house. Maybe some of those top branches might get our carport, but still, that's not so bad. But this tree is minute compared to that other one, okay? Just very minute, but it's pretty. I hate to sound like that because it's so huge and big, but that other one was so much bigger. It was unbelievably big. I've got a picture of John standing in front of it when it was down, and you can see the roots of it, how big. The kids and I are standing in front of another one that fell that was right beside it, and you cannot see the house behind us. The root is so big. But anyway, this one, now y'all see, it's pretty big too, but like I say, it pales in comparison to the size of the ones that fell in the house. So anyway, we've got a bat house I got from town. I love that because we have bats that fly all around here in the evening, and I love that. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna get busy. I just want to talk to you about that fireplace because a lot of you asked and a lot of you didn't know. So now you know.